brand's not about having some fancy logo that somebody made you or flashy colors.
Well, for me, it all started when I was drunk cooking meatloaf, right?
I just got pissed off because there were so many people doing so many shitty things within this space.
What this really taught me was the power of what I call helpful, humanized content. Yeah, it's definitely not about logos and colors and all that kind of stuff.
One of the pieces, if I can get somebody early enough, is you need to have an online presence.
Brand is the association that people make between a particular problem, phase, or topic and your name and company.
Meet your host, Ben Brickway, CEO, attorney, M&A advisor, exit strategist, a husband and a dad. Worked with more than 2,000 business owners across industries. This is ExitWorthy. Ben is a licensed attorney, registered rep, and M&A advisor. This show is not legal, financial, or investment advice. We haven't tailored anything here to your situation. For that kind of help, hire someone who has your back and knows what they're doing. So buckle up, Buttercup. Here we go.
So welcome to ExitWorthy. Today, I am thrilled. We have my dear friend, Todd Giannattasio. Did I get it right?
Nailed it.
We're going to talk today. This is one of the episodes where we talk about certain value boosters. And if you haven't caught all of our episodes on value boosters, be sure to watch them. The whole idea here is that the value of your business is so much more than just what the financial statements will say. No matter what that shitty Instagram ad says, no matter what that broker says of send 3 years of financials and we'll tell you exactly what it's worth. You all, if you've watched what I do, you know that I don't buy into any of that. And from time to time, we bring on some experts in the field to talk about
I'm flattered.
Some of these particular value boosters. And today with Todd, we're going to talk about brand. We might sneak into some other ones, but I've had the privilege of being friends with my man Todd for a couple of years now. He's in the top, what do we call this? The pinned messages on my phone. The top 9 people I text snarky things to. But Todd, why don't you jump in? Tell us the story, and please tell the story about the cooking.
Yeah. Well, for me, it all started when I was drunk cooking meatloaf, right? Back in 2009, my parents got me one of those little flip cameras, which for the elder millennials of us were very excited before iPhones had cameras and there was no Instagram or Facebook videos, right? But it was like the coolest little gadget ever. And I, at the time, was just like working a corporate cubicle job and was bleeding money at the bars and very unhealthy, overweight. And I wanted to basically save some money and learn how to cook. So we got this camera and I'm geeking out over it, super excited. And then I'm like, well, there's no such thing as a content creator yet. I don't want to be an actor or director. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this like cool gadget now? And because of this money and weight situation, I was like, yo, I'm a geek. Why don't we start messing around and make cooking videos? And so my roommate and I at the time, we went out. We got once a week would get the finest $11 bottle of whiskey that Bottle King had to offer. And we'd figure out something we want to learn how to cook, and we would record each other, just take down that bottle and figure out something. So it was meatloaf, it was chicken parm, it was French toast, it was all this like basic stuff that like normal people know how to cook, but like 25-year-old, bachelor pad guys are figuring out on the fly. And a couple weeks go by, and being the geek I am, I would load it in iMovie, cut it down into 5 minutes, and just whipped up a simple website. And after a couple weeks, we get an email notification from YouTube that's like, oh, you guys are hilarious. This recipe actually was really good. Can't wait to try the next one. And I'm like, all right, well, this is stupid. What idiot would actually follow our recipe on the internet, right? And I looked at the data and we had like thousands of views on our video. And I was like, oh crap, something's happening here. And over the course of just like a few weeks, we had climbed to the top of Google in front of Food Network, in front of All Recipes, in front of like all the big popular, big name contributors to the food and recipe ecosystem. Like we're at the top of all those. If you're searching easy recipe for meatloaf, easy chicken parm, and then eventually just easy recipes, you were finding us. So if the winter of 2009, you were looking for how to cook this basic stuff, you probably learned it from us, right? And what this really taught me was the power of what I call helpful, humanized content, right? I'm not a professional editor. We had no professional studio. We were just winging it and like figuring things out on the fly, being our authentic selves and sharing helpful information. And all of a sudden, thousands of people were able to find and get help from us, which was awesome. Now, I was in a corporate cubicle. I knew nothing about valuations of companies, let alone even making money in general, let alone on the internet at the time. So that faded away like any drunken side project would. But it taught me this power of helpful humanized content, which over the last couple decades has now really been the foundation of what we do with and for our clients.
That's too much fun. We haven't had whiskey and cooked yet. We'll have to do that next time we get together.
Yeah.
I think
We've had plenty of whiskey,
allegedly.
allegedly.
So what I want to unpack with you today is, as we're looking at value boosters and what a company's worth, one of the primary things we look at is brand, and brand can mean all sorts of things. And when I say it, I say things like, well, your brand's not about having some fancy logo that somebody made you or flashy colors, but what does brand mean to you?
Yeah, it's definitely not about logos and colors and all that kind of stuff. To me, building a brand is building a reputation and mental associations between your company name, your personal name as the owner, and what people think of and how they get connected, right? And so your brand is, you know, the Ben brand is, I know someone who's selling. This happened this morning. Perfect example. I'm looking through Facebook. One of my business owner friends had posted that she's trying to sell her company and she's having a little trouble and she needs help. Ben's brand has, I couldn't draw you Ben's brand logo to save my life. I couldn't even describe it. I don't remember what it looks like. But I saw someone talking about needing help selling their business, and I texted Ben right away, said, "Yo, do you know this person? Do you want me to connect you?" Brand is the association that people make between a particular problem, phrase, or topic and your name and company. That's how I look at it.
That's fantastic. And thank you for that referral, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Much appreciated, sir.
Yeah.
When we're looking at brand, we're looking at the tail end, right? Usually sellability. And in that context, we're just looking for one simple question. If you're selling your business and a buyer is Googling you, and you can mean you, your business, your product, your offer names, but what shows up? And we see some of that. Like, we have a checklist on this. We won't bore everybody with all of it. We won't mention it all today, but
You
it's
can
from
get
the
all that
tone
in the show notes.
you're right. It's the tone of the website, online reviews. I mean, people's pages still don't load, but we don't want to get stuck in that really of social proof, the customer experience. Like, what exists in this business that's beyond just the owner? And wondering if you could talk a little bit about, this big scary thing of content, right? I'm here. I've talked to you for how many years about
Yeah. I
making a
mean, it's taken
podcast?
us 2+ years to get you on the mic here, but hey, we did it.
Well, and for me, it was a tipping point, and I'm going to keep asking you compound questions. I just got pissed off because there were so many people doing so many shitty things within this space, so many assholes taking some class on the internet that promises to teach you how to buy a business with no money down. I was tired of seeing my clients get beat over the head with this. So one of the pieces, if I can get somebody early enough, is you need to have an online presence. What are your thoughts on taking that first step, or what
Yeah.
is a process you can
Well,
follow?
dude, this is a great question, and I don't know if we've ever had the conversation in detail about like, all right, cool, this fun cooking adventure was, yeah, funny story, haha. You guys like whiskey, whatever. That's great for you, but I'm not the next Food Network star, so who cares what happened? Well, number one, the biggest problem and reason I didn't turn that into an actual business when I got into entrepreneurship was because I had no list. I had no relationship with the people who were finding us. So I understood how to create assets that would get visibility and traffic. So we were associated with the phrase of easy recipes to Google. But once things moved on, like, yeah, you went and you watched our YouTube channel and maybe you subscribed, but I was inconsistent with publishing and there was nothing to buy and there was no way I could get in touch with anyone. Right. And so that kind of fell by the wayside. So what was I missing? I was missing a list. I was missing a customer list and I was missing an email subscriber list. We never built that. I didn't know about that yet at the time. So transition into, I quit my corporate job. I start Tresnick Media, which is my marketing agency, and everybody loves my personality. So I had a great, easy job of like, hey, I told everyone I knew I quit my job and started an agency. Oh, I know someone who needs a website. Know someone who needs help with social media. This all comes like organically, word of mouth. Like a lot of business owners, especially in the service space, this is the experience, right? Like you kind of plant your flag, you tell all your friends and family, and they know a one layer of person that kind of things going for you and you get a little traction. I joined the BNI group, right? I joined the local networking groups. And so this is all happening offline in person. And I am having these relationships. I'm building my reputation, but it's manual. It's a grind. It's okay. I'm in 3 breakfast networking groups a week. So 3 mornings a week, I'm waking up extra early to get out the door and meet with these people. And then on top of that, it's like, okay, well now you're anybody familiar with these organizations, you're obligated to have one-on-one coffee meetings with X amount of people per week, and you have to refer a certain amount of business every week or
Was it
whatever.
a dance card or something they called it?
Yeah. So like you're kind of forced to do all this, and it's a little uncomfortable. And I'm like, all right, well, what are the odds that I'm meeting with this real estate attorney and they know someone who's going to need digital marketing or a website like today, right? Very slim to none. What are the odds I know someone who's buying a house right now? Like, so you're really just grasping at straws going through, and it's like, yeah, okay, great. The 30 people in my group know, like, and trust me really well. And if you went up to them and said, hey, I need a website, do you have a guy? They will tell you, yes, it's Todd. No one's going up to a real estate attorney on a randomly and saying, hey, I need a website, right? So like this is not really driving the amount of referrals that the energy and effort is put into. Now, on top of that, in 2012, so I'm here in North Jersey, right outside New York City, and all my business at this point is local. It's through these manual, hard work, one-on-one coffee meetings and these networking and hoping for referrals, grasping at straws. Everybody's local. And in October 2012, Hurricane Sandy came, wipes out the tri-state area. Like no power anywhere for months, devastation. Like I had clients in New York City that didn't have a phone for 6 months. So all my clients are shut down. Nobody needs marketing when their business is shut down. And and I was essentially a freelancer at this point, about a year into quitting my job. And my income just went to right. I'm like, well, shit, what am I going to do? Well, that's when I realized I got to start drinking my own Kool-Aid, right? I knew the process through Easy Guy Cooking and creating helpful humanized content. We had even been doing it with our clients, with our local clients, but I had never done it for myself because I was too stuck in the weeds of, oh, I got to go get to this coffee meeting and I got to fill my dance card with, whatever. And I got to figure out who am I going to refer to the HVAC guy on Tuesday. I don't know anybody who needs HVAC help. And so now I had the time. So I rolled up my sleeves, and over the course of 5 weeks, I planned, produced, published, and promoted 50 articles on my website. So 2 articles every single day from scratch got published on our website. And then I went out and shared it on social media. And over the course of that 8 weeks, these are business days. If was a legal show, got to be covering my ass. Yeah, I know the math, whatever. Right. So 5 weeks, business days, twice a day. And over the course of that 8 weeks, my website went from essentially nothing and no traffic. It was just an online brochure for people to do due diligence, which we can come back to. And all of a sudden, people started finding me. I started ranking on Google for social media agencies, how to hire social media agencies. I was getting quoted in Forbes by actual Forbes writers before people started paying for all the BS. I started getting featured by Entrepreneur and all these other places. I started getting clients from all over the country now. So people in Utah and California and Boston and Florida and wherever, they're looking up online how to do social media stuff. And I'm the one they're finding. I'm the one that's relevant to them. I'm the one who's associating my name with those topics because I'm consistently talking about it. I would publish the article. I would go out onto LinkedIn. I'd find communities of people who were asking the questions that I was answering, and I would answer them thoughtfully. They would tap back over to my profile and see that I had consistently all this very helpful stuff. They'd reach out and ask for help, right? So I wasn't just publish and praying. I was actually publishing and getting out and proactively engaging with my ideal clients. And that sounds like a ton of work, right? Like, dude, 2 articles a day. Like, if you're not a journalist, like, how are you supposed to do that? This is exactly how I did it. I sat down and I thought, I'm going to these networking meetings all the time. All these people are asking me random questions about, and remember the times, like, it was like, how do I get more likes on my Facebook page? How do I get more engagement on Twitter? How do I use LinkedIn to find clients? How am I supposed to send, what kind of emails should I be sending? What should be on my website? All the same questions that everybody gets about their own business, right? Like, Ben, you meet up with people. People are asking you stuff all the time when they find out what you do.
It's actually one of the biggest game changers you gave me is to just start keeping track of what people ask. And
that's
so
it.
I don't want the audience to get lost in, oh, this is a this is marketing and branding and social media guy. That's too hard. I'm not going to do that. What you're saying here is make a list, right?
Exactly. And you don't even have to go that far to make the list, because how I really got started was a client emailed me and said, "Hey, now that everyone's shut down locally, how do we get more engagement on our Facebook page so we can reach people who aren't just local?" And I hit reply to that email to my client, and I started writing out my response, and I sent it to them, and that took me like 6 minutes. And I was like, "Oh shit, I need to publish this on my blog." And so that was my client work. Everyone's doing that now. A client emails you a question and you hit respond to them. You dump your genius insights and you send that over off the cuff, no problem, easy peasy. Everyone watching this is fully capable of what I did next, to go from sending an email to a client to getting to the top of Google to connecting with all my clients, ideal clients on social media. Then in my sent email, I took the cursor and I highlighted it. I hit copy. I went to my website. I hit new post, whatever the subject line was, get more engagement on Facebook. I pasted what I had already sent them and I hit publish, right? And that's it. So publishing an article, quote unquote, was really about 90 seconds of work, because all the genius is already in my head and I already sent it out and typed it up to a client. So the fastest and easiest way to get started is not even to even block off time and sit down and make a list. Just put a little note next to your computer that, like, every time a client emails you a question and you reply, copy the meat of your response that would be valuable to anyone who's in their shoes and go publish that. And that takes
Walk,
90.
yeah, walk through that, because I think one of the problems here is people think that it needs to be perfect and polished and it should be publisher ready, right? So it
Yeah,
could go on Forbes or Entrepreneur or in the
right,
newspaper. Is
right.
that really helpful? Is that what people's
I've been
customers are
studying.
looking for?
Yeah. So first of all, we're on a podcast and this is a great conversation. I know some people are going to want to actually like see the screen of this. And so I'll share with your audience like a screen recording of step by step, like, hey, here's literally 90 seconds of what you could do so that it'll help like click and unlock. So all Ben's people, you can go to thegrowthsuite.com/exitworthy, and I'll make sure that we have like a few resources that show you exactly how to make this super easy as possible for you to get started. Because I know it's one thing to hear it on a podcast or watch it on YouTube and it sounds cool, but actually seeing it step by step. So don't worry about that. We got you covered there. And I've recently been studying, and now, first of all, this started in, I've been on building sites and doing digital stuff since '02. And then I transitioned into Tresnick Media on my own in 2011. Easy Guy Cooking was 2009. And then over the years, I have been doing this and getting results since 2002. And so there's not a lot of people who have the staying power that I have. And it's all because I'm not doing anything tactical and cheating the systems, right? My clients, naturally, when ChatGPT came out, my clients never adjusted their strategy and they started getting recommended by ChatGPT. People are going to ChatGPT and asking for, tax advice on, their interior designers asking for tax advice on certain services and how it works. My clients' YouTube videos are what ChatGPT started citing.
All right, I need to pause and jump in.
Yeah.
That happened to me for the first time last week.
Oh, I saw you post about that. Yeah, that's
we
awesome.
had somebody ask about one of the verticals we're in and who's the best advisor for selling a business, and boom, we popped up. Can you give me 30 seconds on how that works and how ChatGPT even finds you? And maybe that's the hidden reason people start making content.
Yes, and so this is exactly my point. My client didn't do anything new yet, ChatGPT optimized, right? So how is it that the same stuff that I was doing in the 2000s worked throughout the 2010s and is working through the mid 2020s, when it went from every different channel to whatever to then Google emerged and then YouTube and then this and then that, and now it's ChatGPT, and in 10 years it'll be something different? It's because the underlying principle, which we figured out in Easy Guy Cooking, right, is that helpful, humanized content is what everybody is looking for when it comes to business services, right? We're not talking about like being the next Mr. Beast and doing some crazy outrageous thing for 1 million views, right? We have clients who get like 40 views on an Instagram reel and they make 70 grand because they sell a service that's very specific to a particular industry. They don't need 1 million views on something. They just need something helpful and humanized to get it out, right? So I've done these case studies, and again, if you guys download, go sign up and I'll get you this. But there's plenty of people who spend a ton of money on a studio, plan out meticulously exactly what they're going to say. They hire copywriters and teams to do all this. They spend 50 grand a month producing this highly polished yada yada, all this stuff that can get multi-purposed into every single different place, which is fine, and they get zero traction. And they spent all that money and nothing happens. And then there's plenty of examples of people who have millions of followers in the legal industry, right? In the interior design business, in these niches, in quantum biology. One of my clients is quantum biology, where all they have to do, the consistent correlation of successful content is not the color of the transcript of the captions on the thing. It's not that you're using this one hook. It's not that it's square or vertical. It's not that you post it at 6 a.m. instead of 8 a.m. The one consistent thing to successful content is that there is valuable substance in what the person is talking about. So if you have crap and you put it through a studio and make it look super awesome, it's still crap.
Well, and we see it on both sides, from the TikTok dance, like these people embarrassing themselves, and especially in professional services where we are. But any real business, do you want to see some fucking goon doing the latest trendy dance? No,
Exactly.
You want them to just talk and have a conversation. But I think
what's the association? If I see you dancing and doing something stupid, does that mean I think you're the best attorney for selling my business? No, I'm going to think, oh, that guy's entertaining. He's in the entertaining bucket in my brain. And like, oh, he does funny stuff. Like, yeah, dude, we're hilarious. We'd have a hilarious TikTok if we wanted to. That's not going to help us get clients.
Yeah, well, I think we could drink whiskey and cook things.
Exactly.
But I see it on the other end too, because there's people in my space, both in the legal side and in the exit advisory, where they sit and read off the screen.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can't be.
It's like shitty AM radio, if anybody remembers that, right? Like you bought a spot, and it's not personal, and I found from my side, I don't want to work with clients that want the stuffy person, because we go through battle together, right? Like selling a business is hard, and we can't just like be stuffy, thread count, formal. Like, no, we don't. Like, we gotta say shit to each other sometimes, right?
Yep. Well, I think that's also a matter of like, there is a hump that you have to get over, in particular if we're talking about video. When it comes to video or text, the best thing you can do is write like you talk, which is why I say, like, I call it coffee conversations, but it's like, if I'm sending an email back to a client, that's conversation. It sounds conversational when you reply via email to somebody, right? And so I'm literally copying and pasting those onto LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, right? For Instagram, I'll have the email up on my screen on my laptop, and then I'll just grab my phone like this, and I'll be peeking at the email so I have the talking points and just reiterate what's there. But it's all about write like you talk like you talk. And so if you're getting started with video, you're just going to have to do a lot of them to get over the mental barrier, but treat it like a FaceTime. Treat it like a Zoom. And that's also why, like, a lot of times, and that's why podcasting is great, because we're hopping in and you're just talking, riffing, like, it's easy. So yeah, you don't want to be stuffy and sounding like you're reading a script word for word. Here is the next line, yada, yada. That's boring. But you're going to have to do that a little bit if you're not used to it or getting comfortable. But I guarantee you, if a client FaceTimed you and was like, hey, I need to get on FaceTime real quick because I have a question, you'd be like, all right, what's up? You get on FaceTime, you're like, you need the value boosters for the business? Yeah, the value boosters are this, and this, right? Like, oh, what does that one mean? That one means blah, 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 blah. All right, cool. Later. Hang up. And it's the same device, it's the same camera. It's like, it's the mental barrier of like making it conversational. And I think that's how you can get over that hump of like dry, boring reading off of a thing. But that just comes with practice.
And part of this, we started talking about brand, but as my value boosters tend to do, they leak into others. And I want to ask you a couple of questions here, because what we're talking about can deal with the owner dependence problem, and it can also or it can also deal with this customer acquisition system thing of too often we see that somebody builds a business because they're really good at doing a thing. And then the business kind of builds around them. They're the chief rainmaker. They're the only one that goes to BNI. And what I want to see when it's time for them to exit is that it's not dependent on them, whether they're doing the thing in the business or them finding new customers. How can somebody create content and separate? Well, it's a duh. I'm going to throw you like a triple question here. Create
Hit me.
content. We talked a
Yep.
little there. Separate themselves from the business, right? So if the owner has to come in and sell every big project, that's great. I would think the next level is, well, we've recorded the sales pitch so a new owner could come in and do it. But are there other steps beyond that, and maybe branding for the company and
Yeah,
the
totally.
product?
Yeah. So I think there's kind of like phases that it can go through, right? And number one is going to be founder led, right? Like owner first, right? Like, hey, guess what? This is what you signed up for, guys. You're the business owner. You got to hustle. You got to do all these, you got to do all the different parts of the business while you're building it. You're also going to be the most passionate one about it, and you're going to be the deepest expert at first. And so, yes, it's your job to plant your flag in the industry, to share your insights, and to be the thought leader, the expert, the face and voice of the company. Now, the same way, again, we're digitizing the reputation of the company into content assets. So the same way that, yes, as the founder, you're the first salesperson, you're the first marketer, and you're the first service provider. So I'm doing the selling, and then I also got to fulfill, and then you're on that hamster wheel for a little bit. And then you figure out, like, I read the E-Myth, I got to hire people, and I'm not the one who's baking all the pies, right? And so the same way you scale that you scale yourself up to that next level where now you've hired people who are doing it, now you've actually created more leverage for yourself, because the same way that creating content is easier when it's conversational, start bringing your team into the content. And so rather than it being the Ben show or the Todd show on all of this stuff, on all of these assets, it becomes the team learning how to share the same way. Those same habits of your team's the one dealing with the clients now. They're the ones responding to the client emails. Well, now it becomes their job. Maybe you hire an assistant who can do this, whatever. But their insights being shared with clients become the ones that get shared into blog posts on the website, that get shared into LinkedIn content, tagging each other and all that kind of stuff. Hey, you want to go a little further? Like, this is a career booster. This is a reason people should come and work for you. Now, when someone's buying your company, if you're the sole owner, operator, and only employee, there's not much value there, right? But assuming people selling their company, they're going to have a team of people, right? Like the whole company is not just the owner anymore. And you're likely going to maybe, however Ben advises you, going to stay on for a little bit or maybe not at all, maybe a longer time than you want to, depending how things shake out. But the whole idea is that like the owner's getting out of there, but the company still exists because it's the people that are a part of the company. And so when you're bringing people on, tell them that part of being in the service business is being recognized as an expert, because then our customers are going to want to work with you. The same thing goes where if you are the face of the company in all of the advertising and you're a carpet cleaner, but then someone else shows up to the person's house to clean the carpet and they're like, "Oh, I thought I was getting Paul. I didn't know, Jim was coming. I thought it was going to be Paul." Well, if we can bring in our experts and have a conversation, make it a full show, make it a pretend show where it's the owner and the team, and they're talking about, their war stories with clients. And, remember that, we were working with this client last week and they hit this major issue and that was a battle. And so here's how we worked through it, yada, yada. Now you're putting them on. Now you can help them build their own personal brand as a career asset for them, which we could talk about in a whole nother episode. That's not for the ExitWorthy show because we're not boosting employees here. But it becomes a reason people want to work with and for you, because you're not just coming here and you're going to work here and then I'm going to sell the company and you're going to be screwed, or you're going to be here for 2 years and hate it and then want to go and you're just kind of spinning your wheels doing your next thing. It's like, you're going to come here and you're not just going to work here and make money in your salary, but I'm actually going to position you as an expert in this industry so that you're going to have a more fruitful career beyond what we do in the next few years together.
Yeah, and it's part of my concept too of, I think employees, just people in general, they want to be part of a club. They want to be part of a team. They want to be a valued part of the team. And too often in the old school commission breath broker approach is we have to be silent and quiet. We can never let the team know we're selling. I think in most times that's bullshit. And what you're saying resonates with me is if the team is involved and we're showing it through whether it's content or just the operational processes of the business, where the business becomes owner optional, you become a much better place where a buyer looks at this and says, this is a sexy business. This is something I want to be part of.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
where do people and culture fall into the value boosters? Is that something you talk about?
we do a little bit. It's at the beginning side. It's more of let me look now. People comes in the transferability part, and it's not just like who is there, but why are they there? Will they continue after the sale? The industry term, and you know how much I hate using the buzzwords, right? But the golden handcuffs that owners get, we want to teach the owner how to put those on to the employees,
Yep.
but not in a bad way. It's like,
Right.
how do they want to stick around
Yeah.
and be part of this? How are you building a culture that says, an exit is inevitable? That, a lot of times we will talk to an owner late in this process and be like, look, we want you to present as being kind of old fashioned and janky, maybe even borderline an idiot, right? So a buyer can come in and be smarter, but the buyer
Yeah.
has to be able to come in and see that there are key employees and managers that are going to stick around. And what you're saying, I think, resonates. Like, if they feel like they're part of this because they're in the content or they're part of the branding, the marketing, um, or better yet, there's their face. Like, they're proud of that. They want to stick
Yeah.
around.
Well, and here's the thing that you won't hear from a lot of content people. And so this is the difference between like the content gurus that you see that are siloed and in the weeds of content as content and content for content's sake versus I've been in business for decades and I've been a partner as part of an exit. I've been a partner in businesses that flopped. I've helped build brands from the low seven figures to a multi 8-figure exit. It's I'm looking at how are we building a sustainable business that's growing, and here's how we digitize that, and content is an asset of those things. And so another thing that content can help you with besides the customer side of things, it can be the team and culture piece. And so when I was growing my team, a lot of the times when I'm recruiting, I'm putting out job posts or whatever, but then part of the application funnel and interview process was thanks for applying. Here are the last 3 episodes of my podcast. Watch them before our call so that you get a feel for my style and my vision and my values. And guess what? The people who don't jive with my personality type, they're out. And that's great. That's a good thing. You're only attracting the people who align with your vision and values and personality. And that creates this culture of people who are all there because, hey, I dig this dude's vibe. So we're all going to be kind of a part of that. I like the mission that we're on, like helpful humanized content. We're helping mission driven businesses grow and reach and impact more people. Like, all right, that's cool. I want to be a part of something like that. So my team is built around that. And they have an understanding that's not just BS of like, oh, we did 3 Zoom interviews and they were good at interviewing and I was good at selling them the job because I needed to hire someone. But really, they were able to immerse themselves in, even if they skim through, but spending time seeing my personality and vision and mission and all that kind of stuff. And like now they're going to see that and say, this is a dude I want to work with. This is a company I want to be a part of. And that comes to being a good entrepreneur is casting that vision and speaking to it. And so content is the way to digitize your relationships and reputation in the market for getting customers, for getting strategic partners, for getting new team and talent and, building the culture. Like it's just the digitization of your company into assets that can scale beyond just the owner, as opposed to like, oh, we need a new way to get customers. We need to post on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever.
I I want to ask you a fun challenge question as we wrap this up, right?
Hit me
This
up.
is
Hit me.
the way to transition into the exit world. But imagine there's a scenario, right? And we don't only work with owners who are ready to sell right now. Ideally, we've got 12 months, maybe
Can
more.
I jump in? Wait, before we get into this, let me just pin this back into something good that we kind of skipped over. But how does content act as an asset when it's the owner versus just the owner? Well, if the owner is the salesperson and they're the rainmaker, and that's key person of influence, and they leave, the value of that person's out the door, so the value of the company's down, right? If that owner has digitized all of his expertise into these content assets, and you can say, hey, yeah, Todd has 12 meetings a week that generate this much sales and this much business, but the website content is ranking at the top of Google and is getting traffic from ChatGPT, and that's generating 60 meetings a week. Well, when I leave the company, those assets are still there, right?
how do you pivot that from being owner centric to product or offer or service centric?
Yeah, I think it just comes to a matter of number one, I have what I call these modern marketing values, and it's number one is customer centricity, right? And so none of this stuff is about like Todd Giannattasio is so good, he's an expert at blah, blah, blah. It's all speaking to customer problems and being associated with the problems that we solve for people and building building an audience of a particular type of people, right? So like if you're a bookkeeper for interior designers, number one asset is a huge list of interior designers. So when the owner leaves, that list of interior designers is still part of the company and can be communicated with directly from the brand. Secondly, all of the insights and assets of the owner speak to here are the 70 main financial problems that interior designers have, and those are all digital assets that speak to those problems, advice for solving them. Now book a call with our company to talk about doing business. And the owner it's never about the owner in any of those things because it's all customer centric, it's all education based, it's all value first, right? So it's not about Ben or Todd or Mary Therese. It's about like our company solves this problem for these people, and that's the brand association and reputation that we build. And so even when the owner leaves, that the people finding and engaging with the company online, it may have originally been insights out of the brain of the owner, but the assets themselves don't need to be just the face of the owner, especially once you start scaling and growing the business.
Yeah, and I think that especially applies when you're creating frameworks and methodologies, and it's not just about, ooh, look how important I am, and I'm going to solve this for you. It's like we have them built in here. We have the peak exit thing. We have the VST triangle. We have all of these components because it's really about the process. If it's just focused on what the owner of the business does, there isn't a business. It's just a glorified job. So if we're advising somebody here and they're 12 months out from an exit and they're not doing any of this, what are some of the kind of quick hit things they can do to turn that corner away from being owner centric and use content and video to leverage that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's really sitting down and looking through, all right, your sent box in your email and your calendar are where all the juice is. Let me look back at the last 90 days in my calendar. What were all my meetings about? Right. And at this point, like you're probably recording them, if not having an AI transcribe, and take notes on all that stuff. So you probably even have these assets already. And then looking at my sent box and saying, okay, where's all the client and prospect emails of people who were asking me stuff? Now let me digitize these into assets. And we have a system where we use AI to do this, where we actually we upload all of our client meetings and transcripts to depersonalize anything about the clients, only take things labeled from Todd Giannattasio. What were all the key insights extracted from this call? Now turn this into content assets, blah 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 blah. So we're taking our meetings and our sent box and turning those into digital assets. And that doesn't necessarily have to be from Todd Giannattasio when it gets published onto the website. It's just published into articles, right? Um, it doesn't have to be video, right? Like, again, it doesn't have to be any of these things. It's what works for your business model. So if your team, like I said, I think pulling the team in to have them share their insights, get them comfortable, that's going to be your best bet, is to have other people contributing as well. But it also doesn't have to be video, right? Like it can be just distributed through text-based content in articles and newsletters and social posts.
So you're saying it's doable.
It's 100%
So
doable.
so for
All
that
right, here's what
owner,
I'll say. You're already doing it because you're already having the meetings, you're already sending the emails, you're already slacking all of this, all of your insights. You're blocking yourself by keeping it private when you just need to, optimize it to be published publicly.
yeah, they just need to get it out of their, and not even out of their head. You're saying get it out of your outbox. So it's not
Exactly.
only doable, it's doable relatively quickly. So if I come in and I analyze and my team does this assessment and we kick the shit out of you in these areas and we're like, look, you don't have these parts and you're missing it. It's something they can do. How can you help them with it?
Oh, I'd love to be able to help them, especially, business owners working with you. I know that they got to at least be a little bit legitimate, right? So, the way that we help our clients is with this. We have a 4-step process, and it's strategize, digitize, optimize, and amplify. And so strategizing based on who's your market, what do you want to be known for, and who do you want to be known by? And then we say, all right, here's all the stuff they're looking for. Here's all the problems they solve. Here's all the assets we need. You can create them from scratch going forward with this checklist. We can hop on Zoom and interview you. We can do whatever. That part two of the process is digitize, right? So it's how do we get it out of your head and into something tangible like, recorded video or documents. Once it's digitized, the owner can be totally done, right? Then that's where our team, or we can, coach your team through doing it depending on, what kind of staff you have. And that's where it gets optimized, where it's like, okay, how do we turn the insights into things that make sense for blog posts, newsletter, social, etc. Obviously heavily powered by AI to craft all this stuff. And then amplifying is just distributing it. How do we get this out and just start publishing it into a regular cadence and all that kind of stuff? So if you're already giving advice and having conversations where your insights are getting shared via email, Zoom, or Slack, or in-person meetings with prospects, clients, and colleagues, like you're already doing the hardest job. The hardest job is becoming the passionate expert. The hardest job is getting it out of your brain and talking about it. What you're missing is just someone who's just capturing it and then getting it out into the digital world. And that's where we come help.
So we will put together some sort of special package of goodies for our crew here that we'll put in the show notes, or insert URL here. Any closing advice here?
You already did the hard work of becoming the expert. You've got years and years and years of blood, sweat, and tears into this. You can off the cuff talk about any question that people need to know from you and your company. Let's just get it out to the world. Stop blocking yourself behind closed doors in your inbox, right? Like, let's get your genius out to the world so that more people can find you, follow you, and favor you when it's time to hire your company, and you have more assets to increase the value of your company when it's ready to sell.
Yeah, I love it. I think the whole idea here is part of what people are selling are these intangible assets, the goodwill, and that it terrifies buyers because they can't grasp it. They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So you're expanding on what we show here of, well, be able to show somebody what it is, quantify it. If it's a buyer doesn't want to look in all your sent messages. If you can just bring this out with limited effort, it doesn't have to be scary, whether they hire somebody like you or just follow what you've taught today. There's a path to scoring better here and looking like a more sellable company, like a company people actually want to buy.
Yep, exactly.
So, Todd, it's been a pleasure, my man.
Hey, I appreciate it. I love what you're doing, man. We need to get your genius out to more people. So I'm psyched that you got this show going on.